This American stealth bomber can drop 3,000 bombs in 3 minutes. Just look at this footage. This incredible sight is the merit of the B-2 Spirit, the most expensive bomber in the history of mankind. The impressive demonstration of military power shows the accuracy and effectiveness of modern military technology. It looked spectacular, but have you ever wondered how an American bomber manages to drop 3,000 bombs in just 3 minutes? To do this, it was necessary to involve the best engineers from around the world, who over many years of testing managed to create a completely new weapon, which combined with invisibility will become the most powerful tool of influence in any conflict. The Northrop B-2 Spirit is an American strategic bomber that has impressed the world with its capabilities.
It's basically designed so that it minimizes the amount of radar that can be returned to the original source by, unlike the 117, which uses faceting.
This was the first production airplane to be designed as a flying wing, which completely changed the idea of aviation. Could people have ever thought that one day they would see a 160 by 65-foot steel boomerang in the sky, capable of destroying a city with a single projectile? The main ability of the B-2 is also hidden here: invisibility. How much harder do you think it is to detect the Spirit than a regular airplane? 10 times? Maybe 100 times? That's wrong. 1,200 times. This means that enemy radar needs 1,200 times more power to recognize it. As we both understand, this is extremely difficult.
It's designed to basically kick down the door to open up that entryway.
You've figured out the stealth, but you're probably wondering why we need it at all. You can just fire a missile at the enemy and that's it. But the B-2 Spirit is much more destructive than any missile, as it's capable of producing a hail of several thousand explosions. No other aircraft can do this. This technology has been secretly developed for more than 10 years and it's finally been tested. But be ready, because the purpose for which it was done will definitely surprise you, or maybe even scare you. The preparation and planning of such an important mission is very thorough. From intelligence gathering to target selection, every detail is carefully considered. The logistics of coordinating such an operation are staggering, as success requires several teams to work in perfect harmony. Bombers and their crews receive special training. The crews train on high-tech simulators that reproduce flight conditions. It's almost the same as if you decided to play a war game on a computer, but there's more responsibility.
It will operate in tomorrow's high-end threat environment, and it will enable America to outmaneuver, to outpace, and to outmatch our adversaries. It will deter aggression.
In the case of the B-2, flights take place at night and in good weather. The crews are also studying strategies and tactics for using bombers in various combat scenarios, including breaking through air defenses and striking key enemy positions. For this purpose, buildings are constructed on training grounds only to be blown up from aircraft. That's how people work. The crews of bombers capable of carrying nuclear weapons undergo special training in the management and use of the nuclear arsenal, including safety procedures and launch protocols. Of course, the nuclear bombs are usually replaced by dummies in training, but the pilot is still obliged to know the radius of destruction and other aspects that may be critical. And when the pilot is fully trained, the aircraft is put on alert and the range is built. It's time to start the full-fledged explosions. All safety procedures must be taken to ensure that such a combat operation is successful and the pilot remains safe.
B-2 enables us to pull the wool over the enemy's eyes and significantly darken his view. So with that in mind, there may be advantages to making different turns and going different directions en route to the target with the bomber to enable us to accomplish it.
It's necessary to equip the aircraft with the necessary ammunition before the battle. For this purpose, the bombs are transported on pallets by a special transporter. I can't even imagine how scared the driver must be, because he's carrying something that can blow up the whole city because of the slightest mistake. Then the military needs to provide reliable reconnaissance and protection for the bomber. It's necessary to accurately determine the location of the enemy so that the entire nuclear power does not fall somewhere else. The newest reconnaissance drones, the Global Hawk, are used for this purpose, capable of monitoring more than 130,200 square feet of territory from an altitude of 72,200 feet. Modern F-22 and F-35 fighters, as well as air defense systems, are responsible for covering B-2, and videos about them are also posted on the channel. In the case of the Spirit, its escort lasts exactly until it reaches the boundary line, a line after which enemy radars can easily detect other aircraft. Then the Spirit's left alone and the mission comes to its peak.
Stealth aircraft, it's designed to basically kick down the door to open up that entryway.
The pilot needs to gain sufficient altitude to reduce visibility as much as possible. The B-2 copes with this with flying colors, as it's capable of reaching an altitude of 69,000 feet. At this altitude, it's almost impossible to capture, and given all the work done to make it invisible, we can say that it really becomes a ghost, bringing destruction. As soon as the pilot's over the target, one button and launch. Mission accomplished. Pilot returned to base.
Like I said, we knock the door down, we go in first, and lead the way for other aircraft with a larger radar signature to come in and strike targets to drop those unguided weapons.
Such a powerful nuclear bombing has catastrophic consequences, affecting both the explosion zone itself and remote regions. The blast wave from thousands of shells instantly destroys buildings and infrastructure along with enemy military equipment. As you already understand, nuclear bombing is an extreme threat, the consequences of which could be catastrophic. And this is what every state fears. That's why strategic bombers with their arsenal are created primarily to deter the aggression of potential enemies. The impact on the target is significant, but we cannot ignore the collateral damage that could have occurred. It's a reminder of the cost of war, even in the age of advanced weaponry. Nevertheless, the United States wanted to go even further and tested a new projectile, the B-6113, which will replace the old models. The B-6113 has the same power as the nuclear B-61-7, which was developed in the 1960s.
The 6112 program started in 2010. We really started the aircraft compatibility testing in 2013.
The new bomb will have a capacity of 360 kilotons, while the last nuclear bomb produced by the United States had a capacity of only 50 kilotons. The power of the new product is equivalent to the explosion of more than 2,000 non-nuclear missiles. But the Spirit is capable of carrying something even more terrifying. It's a cluster version of this projectile, and each of its hundreds of parts contains a miniature nuclear warhead. Given the number of bombs that can fit in the hull of a bomber, one such salvo will create about 3,000 explosions over an area of tens of miles. But all these experiments of new bombs were just a test for the future adaptation of this technology to the B-21 Raider bomber, so that it could drop the same number of projectiles, but in unmanned mode. Reflecting on the spectacle we've witnessed, it's important to remember the consequences of such a show of force. The B-2 bomber, which dropped 3,000 bombs in just 3 minutes, is a serious reminder of the destructive potential of modern military technology. It's worth considering whether it was really worth creating such a weapon. Could it be that the way to peace is to give up nuclear weapons? This airplane was a myth until recently, an unrealistic technology of the future. However, we now know that it not only exists, but is equipped with the best laser in history. The cutting-edge SR-72 Dark Star aircraft and the LAWS-2 laser system installed on it is one of the most effective weapons in the world. We first learned about the SR-72 in 2007. At the time, it was said that it was capable of reaching speeds of more than Mach 6, which is 3,980 miles per hour. The speed is currently classified, but I'm sure it's added a few more jet horses since then. The SR-72 uses the most advanced technology to successfully complete missions and flight ranges similar to the SR-71. An unrealistic comeback, isn't it? It can destroy targets on any continent within an hour and is equipped with hypersonic missiles from the Lockheed Martin Company. The high speed of the aircraft will allow it to easily and unnoticeably penetrate enemy airspace and strike with missiles or a laser, which weighs much less than its counterparts and has an unlimited ammunition life. By the way, the revolutionary LAWS-2 system has already been tested on other aircraft such as the A-10 Warthog. This system, in combination with the SR-72, is the most technologically advanced air weapon available today. Now we'll tell you in what way they're superior to their analogs. Developing such a sophisticated weapon is not an easy task. The engineers faced a number of challenges during the design process. The greatest difficulty in developing laser weapons is the energy source and the power of the shot. The more powerful a shot is, the more energy is required, and the more economical a shot is, the harder it is to destroy the target. The most successful 30-kilowatt laser weighs tens of tons and is deployed on fleets or giant machines because of the huge energy generation system for the shot.
We built the compact laser weapon system.
Well, if it's compact for the scale of an aircraft carrier, it's unrealistic for airplanes. That's why the Lost 2 was a perfect choice, because it can fit into a single internal launch slot and do its job perfectly. But everything is not so perfect. There's one typical problem with lasers: the weather. Moisture, steam, or dust significantly limit the efficiency of the laser. For now, this is solved by lenses and power, although I'm sure that in 10 years we'll see other solutions. The problem of placing the system in an aircraft with stealth features also forced the engineers to do their best. The more angles and protruding elements an airplane has, the larger its radar trail is. Therefore, the design of the SR-72 is adjusted to meet these needs. It's unlikely that the Lost 2 system can be spotted with the naked eye, making it the first flying stealth laser. But SR-72 competitors are not resting on their laurels and are actively working to improve their concepts and technologies. For example, the NGAD, a 6th-generation fighter that'll soon see the light of day and will also be armed with laser weapons. The aircraft program arose from the Air Dominance Initiative study that was completed 10 years ago. Later, the U.S. Air Force published the Air Superiority 2030 Plan, and in June 2022, the Secretary of the U.S. Air Force announced that the program was ready to move to the engineering, manufacturing, and design development phase. Based on visualizations released by Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin, both of which are competing to develop the new aircraft, it's clear that the aircraft could be significantly more stealthy than 5th-generation fighters, thanks to a combination of improved design and new composite materials that should provide even more electromagnetic absorption. It'll be invisible not only in the radar dimension, but also in the thermal and visual dimensions.
This is just one potential concept, what it might look like. It's to describe a vision more than anything else. It's to put something tangible in people's minds.
The main weapon for the NGAD will be the Advanced AIM-260A missile, or JATM, which is currently being developed by Lockheed Martin. The JATM is designed to counter the Chinese PL-15 long-range air-to-air missile and restore the U.S. monopoly on first shot.
The future of weapons could look very different to what they look like today. So we're looking at options to have flexible payload bays, have different missiles all contained within it.
In addition, the NGAD will be equipped with a modified Helios laser system, which is actively used by the U.S. Navy. This is a great system that's already actively shooting down enemy drones in the Red Sea. However, it's inferior to the Lost 2 in terms of power and firing modes. The only known power output of the Helios system is 60 kilowatts, which cannot be called very significant. The Lost 2 in turn has 2 firing modes, a single 200 kilowatt and a laser machine gun mode with a speed of 8,000 shots per minute, which literally fills the air with heat, hits, and burns any surface. Another competitor to this advanced system is being installed on the British 6th-generation Tempest fighter jet. The Tempest is a 6th-generation fighter aircraft with stealth capabilities and optional control, which will be designed to flexibly cope with the changing battlefield of the future. It's expected that the project will include an open system for adaptation and expansion of capabilities. The time frame will be made of advanced composite materials and additives that will allow it to operate at high temperatures. Digital engineering technologies and advanced processes will be used to reduce production time. The aircraft will support scalable autonomy, which will allow for manned, unmanned, and optionally manned operations. The Tempest will be able to carry both existing and future weapons, such as the Dragonfire. A recently released video of the test showed the successful use of the laser against an airborne target. It's potentially a game changer for air defense, says the video, which shows a bright laser beam piercing the night sky over a training range in the remote Hebrides archipelago, creating a ball of light when it hits its target. The British Ministry of Defense claims that the Dragonfire can accurately hit a coin-sized target at long distances, but does not provide specifics. The exact range of the weapon is classified.
We can just fire using a laser weapon and have on our platforms is potentially going to be much cheaper.
The laser beam can cut through metal, leading to structural damage or more serious consequences. It's also claimed to destroy targets at a fraction of the cost of modern air defense missiles. The Ministry of Defense estimated the cost of a 10-second laser shot at about $13. For comparison, the basic missile used by the U.S. Navy for air defense costs more than $8,000. And it's possible that this weapon has already been used in combat, as the participation of the Dragonfire in repelling Iranian attacks on Israel and protecting the Red Sea is being actively discussed by experts. Something tells me that this is true.
And is at the leading edge, not just in technology, but in demonstrating the end-to-end capability and inform the UK's future procurement.
The aviation version of the laser will be able to do even more. The only problem with this laser is its range. To effectively destroy a target in the air with Dragonfire, you need to get very close to it. This figures much better in the laws too. Target destruction is possible at a distance of 2 miles, and this is just the beginning. There are many opportunities to improve this weapon, and the resource for modernization is virtually inexhaustible. However, even now, these weapons are far ahead of their competitors in the West and definitely out of the reach of potential adversaries in China, Iran, or Russia. The potential applications of the laser system and the Dark Star in military operations are enormous. Its versatility has no limits, from precision airstrikes to defense against air defense systems. The implications for future defense strategies are inescapable, setting the stage for a new era of security and defense. What do you think of this cool weapon? Would you like to try shooting from a laser gun? Write your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video.